everybody, welcome back in the shed. I'm Troy. This is Dave.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk about the top 3 protest songs of all time. And this is another difficult list because when you look at it, it's insane how many protest songs came out, especially in the late 60s, early 70s.
It was actually a topic that my friend John Smith, that I went to college with in North Carolina, that's his real name. He's not in the witness protection program. But John suggested this topic, and I think it's a great topic.
It is a great topic. So let me start off. I'll start with my number 3. It's one of the great protest songs of all time, and it is John Lennon, Give Peace a Chance.
Totally.
Yeah. So they recorded this song in a hotel room. They got a bunch of friends together, a bunch of people around them, and they set up some microphones.
They were actually, John and Yoko were laying in bed.
Yeah, it was a bed in
Toronto.
Yeah.
In Toronto.
They were protesting in bed.
Yeah, they were in Toronto.
Yeah.
And yeah,
and they told somebody, hey, go get some microphones, go get some cameras, and let's record a song. And did you know that they took that recording because the room wasn't the best sounding room, and they actually added more vocals to it. So the big the big chorus.
Yeah.
Oh, we are saved. They overdubbed a bunch of background vocals on that.
Well, probably needed to.
They had to do what they had to do.
My number 3 is U2, Sunday Bloody Sunday.
I knew you were going to pick that song.
Really?
I did. I know. Yeah. I should have guessed
it. It's an incredible song. It's a great
song.
No,
I would agree. I'm not a big fan of U2, but yeah, that is a good song.
Nah, it came out on the War album, and it's one of those seminal albums that I said before, previous episode, that nothing really sounded like that. Bono was talking about the strife that was going on in Northern Ireland. And if people don't know history, they don't understand that the British Empire extended to Northern Ireland. And the rest of Ireland was outside of that, and they were Catholic. Northern Ireland was British. And so you had Protestants and Catholics. And it sounds like a stupid thing to fight about, but the Protestants and Catholics hated each other. You had these terrorist attacks that Shin Fang was doing. Protestants and the Catholics were like terrorizing each other. And this is really a story about, or a recollection of, when the British troops came in and massacred a bunch of people on a Sunday. British soldiers killed a bunch of unarmed civilians and really kicked off a whole bunch of bad shit. Bono was always, railing against violence. And he did it with, Rattle and Hum.
What's the glory in taking a man from his bed and gunning him down in front of his wife and his children?
Bono was really a peacenik, and that song is one of the great anti-violence songs out there. And it's one of my favorite U2 songs.
My number 2 is Buffalo Springfield, For What It's Worth.
Stop, children, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down.
Totally a great song, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was going to be in my top 3, except I had one that was so close to that.
I love that song. I really do. I love the production on it. For one thing, it has just when you hear it, the way the stereo spatial spread in it, it's so great. But you would think and most people probably think it's a Vietnam protest song, but it's actually not.
Nothing happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear.
So Stephen Stills was actually inspired to write the song because of on Sunset Strip. I guess there were these bars and these clubs, and these kids were hanging out and making a lot of noise, and a bunch of rock bands. So some people in the neighborhood, they went to the city council or whatever, and they tried to make a curfew where the kids had to be home by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that's what the song is actually about.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
If you listen to the words, it sounds like a Vietnam protest song, but it's not. It's actually it's a curfew protest song is what it's about.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a man with a gun over there.
It's a great song. Every time I hear it come on, and I've heard it a lot lately. They play it on Tom Petty radio all the time. But yeah, that's my number 2.
I want to tell you a quick story about
Tell me
that song. I moved to Dallas in 1984, and I didn't know a soul. But I got to meet one guy that lived 2 doors down from me who is Iranian. And he got here after the Iranian takeover, and his name was Jeff Sadre. And I somehow won these tickets to Crosby, Stills, Nash on the phone, had a dial-up phone. It was like, the question was on Q102.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Q102?
Oh, yeah.
Ask this question: what was the first song that Crosby, Stills, Nash wrote that they didn't write themselves? So I pick up the phone, dial number. Somehow I get through and they answer, and I said, what's the answer? I said, it's Woodstock by Joni Mitchell. And you won these tickets. So I went down there, drove down to Q102, got these tickets, and I had 2 tickets. I didn't know who to go, so I went and got Jeff. And we went and saw front row at a table up front. Stephen Stills was literally like from me to that light. And then there was David Crosby down here, and there was Graham Nash in the middle. And Jeff didn't know any of those fucking songs. But he knew one song. And that was, and he used to say, "Stop! Children, what's that sound? Everybody knows it's going down." And it was like the coolest night. Of course, David Crosby had just come off. He just got out of jail. He was on he got busted for coke and all that stuff. And when he played Almost Cut My Hair, and then he sang the part about looking in the mirror and seeing the police car, he was still coked out. But anyway, I saw CSN, no Neil, on that, but for what it's worth, was one of my great memories of that night.
All right, so what's your number 2?
I'm going to do Bob Marley, Get Up, Stand Up.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
Bob Marley and the Wailers were, obviously the greatest reggae band out of Jamaica.
Most people think great God will come from the sky.
Bob wrote a lot of protest songs because, the people in Jamaica were
Oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it had to do with their Rastafarian religion.
Mm-hmm. We know the stallion, a mighty God is a living man.
I smoked a lot of weed, smoked a big spleef, but Rastafarians, and Jamaica was a British colony. So for a long time they had the British colony, laws in effect, but the Rastafarians were a religion that believed in smoking ganja, man.
Nothing wrong with that religion.
Yeah, man, yeah. I can relate. But Bob Marley had a ton of protest songs.
If you make it a religion, then you don't have to pay taxes on the weed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it should work.
Yeah.
Can we do that here?
Maybe so. We could make the shed a church.
Now, we got some states that have already done that. Texas will be like the second to last state that does that. But anyways, Bob is the king of reggae. And, Clapton and so many people have covered his songs over the years.
Yeah, Tom Petty did a reggae song. It was awesome. You loved it. I remember that.
Don't pull me over, man.
Don't pull me over.
Anyways, as far as Jamaican culture goes, he's a hero, and he's always been a hero. He will always remain a hero because he spoke up against the establishment, and that song is a classic.
Well, my number 1 is the greatest protest song of all time. CCR, Fortunate Son.
It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no senator's son.
That was on my list.
Yeah. I mean, I love CCR. I love Creed's Clearwater Revival, man. Their old stuff is just freaking so good, man. It's so raw
I
sounding.
think that's their best song.
That's one of their best
Yeah.
songs. They got so many great songs, man.
Yeah, but I'd put that
Yeah,
as far as having substance behind the song.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
probably the best.
Some folks are born made to wear the flag. Ooh, that red, white, and blue.
That's what it's about. I mean, basically, it's about I ain't no fortunate son, basically, because I'm just a poor boy.
He's going to Nam.
The rich kids, you know, they get out of it.
They got
because
deferment.
They go to college,
Yeah,
or
they got
you know,
deferment. Yeah.
the senator's son. You know, the
Yeah.
people in the government. Their kids they don't have to go.
Silver spoon in hand. Now don't to help him share.
I mean, it's such a great song, and not just lyrically, but just like musically. I mean, you know, it's like ain't no fortunate son.
It ain't me, y'all.
It was definitely on my radar.
Well,
the only reason I deviated from that is because I want to
Don't-
get some Bob Marley in there. But totally,
It's
that song it was a powerful song, and it was probably what separated CCR from just being a band that did these kind of Cajun kind of riffy songs and propelled them into the political arena
Yeah.
of protests. My number one song is Ohio by Neil Young. It's actually on the Deja Vu album, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But after the Kent State incident, massacre they call it, in July of 1970, where there was anti-war protests, and there was anti-war protests all over the U.S.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Ohio decided to call out the National Guard, and they unloaded on these students who were just protesting and killed 4, injured a bunch of them. And Neil was so moved by it, he came out with the song Ohio.
Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own.
It's a powerful song.
It's a
for sure.
totally powerful
Yeah.
song. He literally recorded it within 2 weeks of the Kent State incident. And of course, it made it onto the album Deja Vu by CSNY.
Gotta get down to it. Soldiers are cutting us down.
Yeah, I think Neil has always been at the forefront of
Of issues. Like that, for
protest
sure,
songs
yeah.
and issues and stuff like that. But there was, at that time, the timing of it, to get it out there and then have it become a huge hit and then have it on that album, Neil's the man.
This summer I hear the drumming. For dead in Ohio.
He is a man. He's still putting out music today. He just put out a new
I
album.
was listening to
Yeah.
something on Terry Gross today. It had Neil Young on there,
Yeah.
and he was just like,
He was on Howard Stern a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
he doesn't slow down, man. He's just literally my favorite American, or he's Canadian, but it's like, but
He's your favorite American Canadian.
nah, I put him above Tom Petty, to be honest.
Oh no!
I know you love Tom Petty, but
oh no!
but I will put Neil Young at the Mount Olympus of freaking protest songwriters. And you know, one of my favorite songs is like Cortez the Killer.
Cortez, Cortez.
What's great about Neil Young is he didn't give a shit.
He doesn't
He
give
doesn't
a
give
flying
a shit.
fuck.
He does what he wants to do. He says what he wants to say, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks.
He's a
And
gift.
man, we should all be able to live like
He's a
that.
gift from God,
Yeah,
man.
he is.
To me.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below and let us know what your top 3 favorite protest songs are. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.